The first item that we're going to work with in the programming mode is going to be the buffer command. Remember, when we do a buffer, for example a point buffer, we're looking at a distance away from it, a radius, and we're going to use a point buffer as our example this time. So we're looking at a distance away, a radius from a point. It could be a line, it could be a polygon, but for this case we're going to use a point. So again, this is the buffering command. So just to remind us, let me get my pen, that this is buffering. Notice at the beginning we have a bunch of comments. We know they're comments because we see the pound sign. We have like my name, the author. We have what this program is about. And then we start discussing what we're doing. So the first thing that we must do is we must import the ArcPy module. So we use just import space ArcPy, all lowercase. The next command is defining a variable, an input variable. And so we've named it feature input. Notice that I in input is capitalized. And we have a pathway. Notice the R here on the pathway is important that it's there. And this file is going to be contained in a geodatabase. We must also define where is the buffer file going to be residing. So we have what we call feature output. Again, same type of naming convention, using a capital O as part of output. We have a pathway, and we've just named it buffer1, and it's in the same geodatabase where the data is stored right now. We define a radius, and in this case we've defined the radius to be 25 miles. And then the functional line of code that actually does the buffer is the last line of code that we have here. So we call the buffer command, and it is stored in the analysis toolbox. We input the data, the point file, in this case colleges. We tell it where to store the buffer, and we tell it what the radius of the buffer is going to be. And then we hit run, and it runs the buffer without ever being inside of ArcGIS Pro. And then if we want to see if it ran correctly, then we need to go and take a look in ArcGIS Pro of the file that was created. The file being created, remember, is this buffer1 file.